What went so wrong? Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Aaron and I am back with another video for you guys. Today I'm going to give you a mini review of my thoughts after watching Laxmi. Laxmi is a Hindi remake of the Tamil film Kanchana, and Laxmi was previously named Laxmmi Bomb, but because of some backlash, they took out the bomb part and just made it Laxmi. This movie is directed by one and only Raghava Lawrence, who is the director and the star actor of Kanchana. So he's back directing this remake, Hindi remake, and this is his Bollywood debut. Long story short, just for those of you who don't know, Laxmi is about Asif, played by Akshay Kumar, and Raghava, played by Kiara Advani. They're both married. Raghava decides to reunite with her family, and after reuniting with the family, strange things start to happen, especially with Asif's character. Turns out that Asif is possessed by a ghost, seeking vengeance. I was excited to watch this, and I was curious, and I had faith in this remake. Now that I've seen it, long story short, I was disappointed. And I'm not saying this movie is completely horrible, because I do recognize and I do acknowledge and appreciate the efforts put into this film. But the way it was executed was just no. Watching Kanchana and seeing how great Raghava Lawrence was as an actor in that film and as a director, and now coming back to direct this film, Laxmi, I didn't expect it to be perfect. Something must have went wrong with the writing or the process of editing or just the story itself. The story was the one that's lacking. I just think the story was weak. When I watched Kanchana in Tamil, of course with subtitles, I didn't get all the jokes. There are jokes in India that I don't get because I'm not from India. So I don't get all those cultural jokes, and I don't get it. But with Kanchana, I was able to understand the gist, the underlying plot of the story, and able to enjoy it. There was something missing. There was just something lacking with the script of Laxmi that just didn't feel right. This movie is a horror comedy. It's supposed to be a balance of comedy and horror. They couldn't go all out with the horror and the scares and the spookiness because of the fact that it's a horror comedy. I didn't feel the spookiness, I didn't feel the horror, and I didn't feel the comedy. And you know what? I love Akshay Kumar. I am a fan of Akshay Kumar, and he's done some amazing films. I'm not gonna say anything bad about him because I think that with what he was given, I think that Akshay Kumar did his best. Another thing that was kind of off about this film was Kiara Advani was not needed as a character. I love Kiara Advani too. It just felt like because of the script, Kiara Advani was just not a necessary character. The whole time when I was watching this movie, I was like, what is she doing here? What was her purpose? And I know she's playing the wife of Asif. I just didn't feel like her character was important enough. She is beautiful, okay? Kiara Advani is beautiful. But that's exactly the only purpose she had in the film. She was just there looking beautiful. I didn't want Kiara Advani to be like an item girl, you know? That's basically ultimately what she was in this movie. She didn't have any importance in this movie whatsoever, other than being the wife of Asif. The shining star, at least to me, was Sharad Kalkar playing Laxmi. Even the side characters, the Manu Rishi, was good. I think for the most part, the characters did their best with what they were given. So it wasn't an acting problem. I don't typically hate over-the-top acting, and I mentioned this when I was watching a scene from Kanchana, that there was a balance between Raghava's natural, character development and the other side characters overacting, There was a balance between the two that made that melodrama so comedic and so perfect. And I think that's where Laxmi also kind of failed at. And I like over the top, you know, I love melodrama sometimes when it's done right. But I just think there were some parts where it was just so hard to watch. Now that we're getting to the message part, that was what I appreciated so much with Kanchana. It was because I did not expect that message from that movie. Kanchana had a emotional, deeper meaning, deeper level to it that I really loved. And that's acceptance of the transgender community. And in India, that's called third gender. Not only that, that movie was tackle all the stereotypes and all the prejudices. With Laxmi, there was just so many things going on. There were also some changes, like the Hindu-Muslim, you know, the Muslim guy marries a Hindu girl. In the conflict, I personally don't want to get into it because I don't want to open a can of worms, but I'm pretty sure you guys already know what I'm talking about. There were just so many things going at once. It didn't really hit me that emotionally and that deep with the message of acceptance and love of the transgender community. It didn't affect me that deeply and emotionally as it did with Kanchana. I still got the message, and it was still, you know, moving at parts, because you can't help it. If you watch Laxmi, if you watch Kanchana, you can't help it at certain parts where you feel the emotion. I'm disappointed with this movie, and I just, what went wrong? What went wrong? Maybe I was just expecting too much. Maybe something happened with the writing process or editing, but I just don't know. I don't know. One thing that made Kanchana work was that it knew that it was a horror comedy, and it knew where to find the right balance. I don't know how to explain this, but it knows when to be serious, horror. It knows when to go dark and deep, you know? It knows when to be funny. But with Laxmi, I feel like it was just confused. It didn't know when to be funny. It didn't know when to be horror. It was just a big messed up confusion. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's what it felt like when I was watching it. It was missing and lacking something that it didn't quite hit the mark, you know? It didn't quite hit me emotionally and deeply as I wanted it to. I would still say watch this movie, Laxmi. Is it worth the price though? That's debatable. That's questionable. I would say after a while, when you don't have to pay for it, stream it. Personally speaking, I don't think this movie is complete trash. I think a lot of people were expecting a lot from this movie, which is understandable, but I also feel like a lot of people are judging this movie way too harshly, and parts of it have to do with the movie itself and parts of it has to do with something else. That's why I feel like there's a lot of low ratings for this movie. Here's the thing. I'm disappointed and underwhelmed with the movie, not because I think the movie is completely trash. It honestly is not that bad. It could have been better. It could have been better. I've seen worse. I've seen worse. I do understand why a lot of people don't like it. Whether or not you've seen Kanchana, which I recommend you do, Kanchana with Raghava Lawrence, awesome movie. I would still say watch Laxmi months later, you know, when you don't have to pay for it and you're just streaming and you're just looking for a movie to watch to pass the time. It is still enjoyable to a certain extent, and the message is still there. I would recommend you watch Kanchana first, because that is, in my opinion, a better film. Oh, I forgot the music. The music was pretty enjoyable. We've already heard the two songs, Burj Khalifa and Bamboli, and those were actually really fun songs. You know, they're fun songs. They're really catchy party songs. So the music was good. For the most part, the music was good. There were some parts of the movie where the music just didn't match. It was just out of nowhere. The music just didn't match the movie. If you've seen Laxmi, then you probably know which parts I'm talking about. Okay, so this is my reaction and mini review of the movie Laxmi, featuring Akshay Kumar and Kiara Advani. Have you seen it? What are your thoughts of this movie? Leave your comments down below. If you have any other suggestions for me, please keep them coming. And as always, subscribe to my channel if you want more updates on videos, and I'll see you guys later.